Now let's jump straight to the analysis of Grubmarket. Grubmarket is an American startup operating mostly in the US, and the main objective is to connect fresh food directly from the farm to essentially everyone. So make fresh and healthy food accessible to everyone. And we have done for this specific website an heuristic evaluation from the whole funnel, and this is the flow examined. So we started from the home page, then we went to the result page, cart sidebar, cart, registration to the home page, and the end checkout page. But now let's go directly to the analysis of it. Please let me know if it is visible. It might be maybe not perfectly visible, but at least readable. Is it okay? Yeah, thumbs up. Very good. Okay, so let's start from Grubmarket. So in Grubmarket, when you enter on the website, you need to include your zip code because it is, it has to connect you with your specific area. And then, okay, we try to enter in the website. So first of all, when we enter on the website, okay, there is this pop-up that I understand where Grubmarket want to go. They want to collect email for sure. And they give you an extra discount of 20%. If you don't want, you need to click on this link. No thanks, I don't want to save money. All right. So this is a little bit questionable, but I'm not gonna, spend too much time on that. Maybe they have really good performance in collecting leads. Okay, let's start from the analysis of the home page. But before that, let me give you just 1 second introduction to the checklist that you can download for free. So here in this checklist, you include the number 1, your name, then type of device, type of product, where it is located. So here we will start from the home page, therefore we will have 1 tab for each page, and then the task that we are going to perform. So I would like to order broccoli. I'm a big fan of broccoli. And in this case, we are in San Francisco, 94016. So on the left side, we have all the heuristics. Then we will describe the issue. Then we will rate the impact that can be between 1 to 3. 1 is a little problem, little issue, cosmetics. 3, it is a very important issue that can have strong impact on the conversion rate and also on the user experience. And finally, we will include a recommendation. On the left side, as you can see, we have all the heuristics. So essentially the building blocks of the heuristic evaluation. And we will evaluate the interface, the compliance of the interface with these 10 heuristics. But instead of going too much into the theory, let's start from the practice. So let's look at this interface. Here is the header, and immediately after the header, we have the menu, we have a search bar, and then we have the entry point to the cart. So the first thing that we can notice is that there is those buttons are green and the background is green. So essentially the contrast ratio is very, very low. And considering that this is one of the main button, so the access to the menu, and this is also another important button, so the access point to the cart. So essentially this low contrast ratio, it doesn't really help. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take note of this shortcoming in aesthetic and minimalist design, saying that the contrast ratio of some of the most important buttons is not very good. I included 3 because these buttons are very important. And then my recommendation is to make sure to help users to identify the most important call to actions or the most important entry point in page using a specific or unique visual treatment, and also making sure that the contrast ratio is good enough. Let's go now to the second element, going further down. Just one side note, I will always analyze the interface from top to bottom and from left to right. This is also usually the most common scanning path if we consider at least a Western country. Let's take a look at this Carousel. Many websites use this specific design pattern, but most of the time this decreases the conversion rate just because it can be distracting. Sometimes also this image, they slide too fast. So I would advise, this is not a big usability issue, but I would advise also Grubmarket to try to use, instead of a carousel, just a static image, and potentially serve different images to different people if they have the possibility to categorize them. So here I included a note regarding this carousel. This is not a big usability issue, as I said, but I would suggest to do an A/B test between carousel and static image in order to evaluate if we can improve the conversion rate. Here, more important, let's take a look at the category system. So in this category system, we see top selling, office, wholesale, express market, deals, recipe. There is a little bit of everything. And also, if we start to count them, we have 3, 6, 9, 12. I think you got the point. So there are a bunch of categories. And those categories also have different visual design. They're also on a different semantic level. So non-GMO is potentially different than drinks or deals, right? And if we look at immediately downstairs, so immediately later, so there is also another level of categories. Okay, it is definitely too much. This can be quite overwhelming for users that they might struggle in finding exactly what they need. I would greatly advise to try to decrease the amount of categories, also because the short memory of users, of humans more precisely, can hold 5 plus or minus 2 elements. Therefore, if we have 20 categories, it's not really easy for a user to hold all this information in their mind. So I included these also in aesthetic and minimalist design in terms of category system. For me, the impact in this case is 3 because it's quite overwhelming. And my main suggestion is to use card sorting and other investigation technique focused on mental modeling in order to restructure this category system in order to create a better taxonomy. So let's move forward. Okay, here there are a lot of additional information. And on a side note, there is this icon that is not immediately understandable. Therefore, I also included this specific finding in consistency and standard. So it is not really clear what this icon 24 means. Put in the top left corner. It's not a big deal, right? But when we include an icon or we want to communicate something to our users, we should make sure that this is understandable. Okay. I'm usually a search guy, so I will try to search my broccoli. Okay, and here I visualize the 2 possibilities, or organic baby broccoli or organic broccoli. So here, just another little thing. This item at the beginning. This item at the beginning is an information. It is probably how these information are categorized in their database. But it is not a really important information for the end user. So I also included this specific, finding here, and it is a cosmetic finding. It's not really important, but I would suggest to remove this specific information because it doesn't add any value to the user. So for the sake of this investigation, let's go straight to the organic broccoli, also local, exclamation mark. And let's take a look at this other interface. So now, if you are using the checklist together with me, so you need to move from on page to result page. So every time you move to another page, you copy the previous tab, and you start your evaluation. So in fact, the screen location here is a result page. So let's take a look at this broccoli local. So we see here that there is a categorization for items. There is a possibility to sort by category name. And there is also another tab for shop. So essentially, there is a big infrastructure, but there is only one result. So from a user perspective, the user might just feel that this interface is a little bit empty. This might be the feeling. From a more design perspective, my recommendation would be to actually create an interface that adapts beautifully with the amount of content included. So essentially, if you have a lot of content, the interface adapt to a lot of content. But if you have only one specific result, we need to create an interface that adapts to it. I think a little bit more efficiently. So it's not a big thing, right? So I just included these inside aesthetic and minimalist design, and I include these as with an impact of 1. What is a little bit more, I would say, important is this tab shop. Because this tab shop with 0, it can be quite alarming. Because number 1, a user might not know what shop is. Number 2, what does it mean that there are 0 shop? Can I buy my broccoli or not? So it might be a little bit cryptic. So I would greatly advise in this case to make sure that the information provided to the user match the previous knowledge of those users in order to not create misunderstanding or confusion. So this would be my suggestion regarding this tab shop. Let's go ahead. So other than that, and here it starts to become quite fun. So we want to add now this broccoli to the cart, right? So there is this quite interesting interaction that we hover over. There is add to cart. Very nice. So I click on add to cart, and I see one added. Okay, I have a contextual feedback. Very nice. And if I am lucky enough, maybe I've also noticed this. So there was also a change in this icon. So here I can include the amount of bunches of broccoli that I want, but there is also not a clear relationship between this number and this number. Okay, here, we're super smart guy for sure, and we are probably used to deal with digital product. Therefore, we might understand that there is a difference between the number of bunches and basically one product. But for a user, let's see also the same icon, this can be quite, it can create some misunderstanding. More interesting is that if I click on the icon add tree, I will enter in this new state of the interface where I can go to submit or cancel. Okay, let's try to submit. And there is no feedback, and there is also no action. And so I go back to tree and I try to cancel. And also in this case, there is no feedback and no action. Okay, this can be quite problematic because it might, leave your users with a lot of questions mark in his head. So I've included this additional finding here in terms of cart interaction. And this cart interaction is quite uncommon, is quite peculiar. So I would greatly advise to review it and make sure that people can understand actually what they are doing, particularly if they are submitting additional information or if they are removing it. I think someone in the chat is asking to repost the link for the Excel sheet, for the sheet, the checklist, sorry. Okay, I will go ahead now, but we will repost again, or we will also send you by email, so no worries. Going ahead, so there is not a real connection, there is not a strong visual connection between this element and exactly this entry point. So it would be really nice maybe to have an animation or having an easy way to go directly to the cart. That is, in this case, it is not really provided. So here I can interact quite a lot with this item element, but I cannot enter directly my cart. So my suggestion would be to offer an easy way actually to open the cart and to help users to finalize this specific purchase in case their shopping session is concluded. Let's move ahead now to the cart sidebar, and also here it's getting interesting. So here we enter in the cart sidebar. As we already say, the entry point can be quite tricky. And if we open it, the first things that we notice, if we look at, let's say, the totality, this whole element, that there is a lot of green. And it's not only a problem of green, that I love green. It's more a problem of contrast ratio between the different elements that there are in page. For example, the different elements between the header and this panel, the contrast ratio with this button that without over are green on green, and also this price, it is green on green. Therefore, I would greatly advise to really consider the contrast ratio to make sure that all the different elements are identifiable and that are easy to click. So I've included these specific heuristics in aesthetic and minimalist design, and I also specified that we should honor, when possible, the accessibility standard, the WCAG2. That is basically the global organ that is defining the accessibility guidelines. So make sure that everything is visible, that there is at least a very good contrast ratio. Let's go back, and here is the most important part, actually. So the most important part is these two buttons. These two buttons, they look exactly the same. But one is checkout, and the other one is empty cart. So those two things are one almost the opposite of the other. And also in terms of position, so the empty cart is in on the right side, where usually you have the main CTA, whereas the checkout is on the left side. So essentially, the user has to do an extra effort to understand what is the main call to action, so the checkout button, that this call to action, it is different from the empty cart, and that the empty cart is potentially not in the right position. Okay, this is very complicated, and I would say have a strong impact on the user experience, also on the conversion rate. So if there is one thing that I would advise to change right away in this cart is these two buttons now. So make sure that this checkout button, it is visible, it is in the right position, it is extremely different from the empty cart. Please do it and measure the results, and please get back to me then. So essentially, yes, this is, these two is the main findings is related to these two buttons in page. Let's go ahead now, and we want to go to the cart page. So from these two buttons, I'm going to go to the checkout. Let's look at it. Okay, this here, please give me, attention, because I saw this problem over and over again in hundreds, if not thousands, of e-commerce. So this is the cart. And in this cart, there are a lot of information. So for example, there is the header, there is the search bar, there is the entry point to the menu, there is the entry point to the cart, again. Then there are two call to action. One to add to your favorite, the other one to add to the previous purchases. Sure. Then, okay, there is what I have, the food that I want to buy, so all good. Upselling, also this questionable, but I'm not going to discuss about it. And then even the social icon, very colorful. So all this information are not needed. So this is a really delicate moment for your user. So all that you can declutter and remove as many distractions as possible. Make it clean. Make it clean so you can minimize the header. You can remove all the search bar. These, I would also think to remove it. These two, also remove them. Additional call to action. Social icon to remove. The entry point to the blog. Clean as much as possible. So in the cart page, this is my main advice. Make it clean, make it easy, decrease the cognitive load. You will see happier users, more conversions. It is here. So, and I've included this in aesthetic and minimalist design. Okay, let's assume that I want to go ahead. I want to proceed to the checkout. Click on the checkout. Oh no. So now I need to register. Here I would advise, I included another heuristic, heuristic number 11. So minimize the friction during the checkout process. So make sure to decrease the number of steps and the information needed to complete the checkout process. So this is my heuristics that I have included as 11th heuristic. So you can build your heuristics. You can include additional heuristics if you feel like that is necessary. So in this specific case, instead of moving ahead, I need to register to proceed to the checkout. This sometime, in particular for technical limitation, it is requested, but most of the time it is better to provide the possibility to buy without even registering, or guest checkout, or you collect their data during the checkout process. But in this case, I need to register. So let's go to the registration. Name, Alessio. Email, Alessio. Okay. So now I fill out my registration form. Take a look at it. Pay attention 1 second. And let's register, okay? Ready? Because it's quite interesting what is going to happen. Boom. So now I have an error message outside my registration form and tell me invalid username. Username must be between 3 and 25 characters. Okay, very good. So I didn't include the username. And what should I do now? So I close it, and now I'm lost. Not only I'm lost, but meanwhile I'm lost, there is also the pop-up again that asks me if I want to save some money. Meanwhile, I was about to pay. Yes, but I want to pay first. So no thanks, I don't want to save money. Very good. How can I do now? Now the user is lost. And you guys of Grubmarket, you're losing money in this moment. You're losing money and you're making your users unhappy. I am even unhappy. So, okay, let's try to go back. So I need to go back to the checkout process, to the cart, and then restart the checkout process. And meanwhile I restart the checkout process, I can register again. Okay, I can also go on the top right corner. And now I need to include my data. Sorry for let you wait, but you should have seen that. And the username. So why do I need to include a username? This is not a social network. This is not a chat. Why do I need a username for buying food, for buying my broccoli? Let's include this username. Sorry for that. Password again. And I hope that I didn't make a mistake, because if I did, I will be outside again. Finger crossed. Yes, your account has been registered successfully. Very, very good. So here included in my checklist, of course, this issue that is pretty big. So of course, the error management system has to provide information contextually, and they need to make sure that the people can recover from the possible error, obviously. And there is also no indication that the username field it is required, and also why are we asking this information? So why people need a username for buying broccoli? This I don't know. So I also included in the heuristic 11, the username might be not very important during the registration. So please don't request information that are not crucial for your business. This is a golden rule. Okay, let's go back. This time we're gonna make it happen. So again, going to the checkout. This time I'm logged in, but it is not visible. They only say my account. So I'm in stealth mode, but I'm logged in. Okay, and now I can go to the next step. So essentially deliver to So let's take a look at this page. So there's name, they're already using the information that they have in their database, very good. Email, very good. Here, I can include special instructions, no problem. Product substitutions. Here, I would say that considering that I've already marked my yes, they are assuming that I'm happy that they change product if they don't find what I want or what I've ordered. This also is questionable, and I would greatly advise to ask users if they're happy or evaluate if they're receiving complaint for that. Now, let's take a look at our order. We want to deliver Monday. And here, an interesting piece of information. You saved $6. And the question is how? How did I save this $6? So I'm buying this broccoli for $12. There are just $8 of shipment, total of $20. But where did I save this $6? So this question that I'm asking to myself, it's also a question that your users will ask. If this is your unique selling proposition, that these people are saving money buying from you, you should explain essentially how they save this money. So I included inconsistency and standard that is not clear how people is saving money. And they need to make sure that the information provided to your users are pretty clear. And for example, how did we get to this $6? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a bad user. Maybe I'm not a smart user, but I don't get it. Here, the coupon code. Do you remember this our case study that I showed you before? So our e-commerce that was having a little amount of conversions because of the big visible coupon code field. Okay, this is even more visible. It's big, it's purple, and it can really slow down the interaction with the website. So my suggestion here would be for the Grubmarket team to decrease the visibility of this tool and to make sure that this doesn't attract too much attention, in particular for people that don't have a coupon code. And this is what I've included in aesthetic and minimalistic design. So it's very prominent and might distract your users. Number 3, decrease the visibility of this field. Okay, and now if you have any questions, include these questions in Slido. So we finished the analysis of the first website, and we are going to go to the second website. But before that, let me give the main recommendation for Grubmarket. So number 1, Grubmarket team, take care of your CTA. So your call to action, this main button, they have a unique visual treatment, and people are able to identify this button in a really easy and agile way. Number 2, it is try to make your funnel shorter. So every step that you add in your funnel make your users less happy, and you have less conversions and less revenue. So in this case, I need to register. Then I need to go back. After the registration, the system brings me back to the home page. It doesn't bring me directly to the checkout. If I make an error during the registration, I need to restart from the beginning. So try to make your funnel shorter. And also, very important, provide contextual error in your registration form. It's not working. If a user make an error, lose immediately the context and has to find again the registration form in order to fix the error. So give the possibility to fix the error.